Hi folks, I'm Ben, and this is a Crinear Meta. This is Clinical's first IEM. Not first IEM, the first non-collab IEM. And this is a Meta Tune, as the name says. And he's got 3 IEMs coming out this year, and this is the first one. Supposed to be a limited edition, I believe, I think 500 sets. So is it worth rushing out to get one of those 500 sets? Let's talk about it. At the moment, we don't know the price, but I believe it's supposed to be around below $300. Driver counts, driver configurations hasn't been reviewed. No information on that as of time of this review. What do I think of this? The sound signature, as mentioned, it's Meta Tune, so it would be something along the lines of the Kiwi Ears KE4, the High Senior Mega 5 EST, and also the Kiwi Ears Singolo, which was probably one of the first few Meta Tune IEMs, but wasn't really fully known as such back then. What do I like about this? Sound signature, I would say, apart from the fact that it's Meta Tune, it has a very, very good bass presentation. The sub bass rumbles deep. It goes from your ear down to your throat, down to your chest. And it doesn't leave out the mid bass either. There's sufficient punch to complement the sub bass, so you don't feel like anything is missing out there. It's very tight. The resolution for the bass is also very nicely done. It's very textured, very, very good quality bass. When I take it on my ears and I put it back on and listen to it after listening to other IEMs, the first thing that comes to mind is always the bass, and I love it for that. That bass, yeah, it's not a bass head set, but it's still very, very well done. Moving on to the mids. So I would say the mids are rather warm. The lower mids can be slightly too warm. It makes male vocals sound a bit thicker, which isn't a problem. It should be around there. But for certain piano notes and guitar strings that are hit on the lower octaves, you do hear a certain amount of thickness that isn't what you would hear in real life. It's not a deal breaker. It's just an observation that I make about that. Deeper female vocals also sound a bit huskier and deeper than it would be. But apart from that, the upper mids are nice. So female vocals are still also nicely done. They are not. There's sufficient emotion in vocals that come through well. There's enough musicality too. So transients are well done. There's enough decay to not make it sound like a dry set. I think it could do with a bit more in terms of texture as well as micro nuances and micro detail in the mids, like the vocals. But it's fine. Treble is also very nicely done. It's smooth and there is sufficient airiness and sparkle up top. It has enough energy at the top and extension to make it a very enjoyable listen. Soundstage is nicely wide. There is sufficient width there for you to hear instruments and effects going left and right, panning in a very nice manner. But it's not very tall and it's not very deep, which also brings up the issue of layering and separation, because it isn't very deep and isn't very tall. You don't get a lot of instrument and vocal separation. It's pretty much flattish in that sense. So if you're listening to more complex tracks, even some rock stuff, it can just sound a bit well, yeah, it's not nicely separated enough for you to make out the details in each instrument there. But I would say it gets by with it. It's not the strong point of this set. So let's compare it with, I don't have the Mega 5 EST, and I haven't heard it in a long time, so I can't really compare it to this set. But compared to the Kiwi Ears KE4, I found the KE4 to be, even though if you look at the frequency response graph, both, actually all 3 or all 4 of them are more or less almost identical. But the Kiwi Ears KE4 just sounds boring to me. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's a bit drier, but it doesn't make me want to listen to music on it. So this set is different. This set actually has a lot more energy compared to the Kiwi Ears Singolo. Very similar. A couple of key differences. The bass isn't as tight, or it's just not, the quality isn't as good as it is for the Meta. So it can sound a bit woolly, not as much definition, not as much resolution on the Singolo. Also, the lower mids are not as emphasized, so it's a bit less warm than this set is. Moving on to the treble. The treble is a smoother treble, not as sparkly and not as airy as the Meta. The other thing that it doesn't do as well is technicalities. So technicalities, one rung below what the Meta is doing. All right, so let's score this thing. I would give the Crinear Meta a solid 75 out of 100. I know I'm saying technicalities are not a strong point, but the bass, I love the bass on this thing. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next one.